Are you ready? Did you light the candle? Okay, let's start the ritual. Welcome to Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. This is a space where truth gets its voice back because shame loses its power when we speak to it. Here, we don't skip the hard parts. We sit with them and we learn to hold ourselves inside them. This podcast is ritual in audio form, a way for us to bring intention and intuition back into our everyday. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our monthly ritual of sitting down to reflect on the month that has passed and set intentions for the month to come, which is reflecting on February and setting intentions for March. And that's so super crazy and wild. I'm here virtually with my mom, and she is joining me for our ritual as she has been and as I love her to. We are both stuck at home after a snowstorm that we were not expecting. At least I wasn't expecting. Um, yeah, hopefully one last snowstorm. For me, March means spring, and that's all I've got to say about it. But we're gonna go through our typical structure. I've explained in a past R&I that this is a ritual that my mom and I do most nights. We've started to adapt it into our R&I episodes because it just fits so perfectly. And I hope is a structure that you can take with you for your rituals of reflecting and setting intentions and just processing the day and life or whatever season you're in. So that structure starts with our reflections. So, Mom, we start with um, what we learned from the month, what we appreciate or are proud of ourselves for, and what we are grateful for from the month of February. So, do you want to begin with a main lesson? I mean, you can do that in any order, whatever order feels good for you.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for having me. Um, a main lesson from February as I reflect upon it is that I love this. I I really try to
Well, for
understand what
people who are not watching, what do you mean by
oh
this?
the this, sorry, that was a visual. I love snowstorms, I love winter. And the reason that I love it, there are a lot of reasons. You know, if you are lucky enough to not have to deal with the logistics of traveling in it, it's very beautiful. It also adds to what I also learned about myself even more deeply this month is how much I love and need to cocoon in the winter. So it is sort of like, I mean, I can do it on a sunny day as well, and I do. But it is this blanket kind of that sort of literally and virtually of sort of tucking me into myself, and that I love to go there. Um, and um, so that's one very important takeaway from this month.
Yeah, it's so true. And for me, I mean, it has been a very wintry winter, a very intense winter.
For you.
But something that I've learned as I've embraced the seasons more is the same. Like I very much I need the seasons and really allowing myself to be a seasonal being and to adjust my life and rituals accordingly allows me to then be ready for the next season. So I don't think I could be ready for a spring or summer season, especially the one that I have coming up, if I hadn't allowed myself to fully cocoon during the winter season. And, we also have winter seasons weekly or daily or monthly, especially if you're a woman. But nature really gives us her cues. And so I think aligning with your internal seasons and aligning with the external seasons is really what allows us to move through life in a way that truly is meant for us
Yeah,
as animals.
yeah, exactly.
Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Okay, just, I mean, there was a major event in our family, sort of the end of January going in to February. So, um, it's sort of, if I can flow into the next segment, as you said, it was a winter that showed itself very powerfully. And it brought with it just a lot of strong feelings. It also brought a gift. Um, I'll just speak for myself right now. It brought me the gift of my first granddaughter. And in the midst of the snow, I did have to travel. I mean, I wanted to be with her and um, her parents, my son and daughter-in-law, in a different state. And so I did have to kind of fight the elements a little bit because it was during a previous snowstorm. Um, but it really is, and continues to be a gift that evokes a full, huge spectrum of feelings. And I think what I appreciate about myself in this month of all these feelings is being able to stay very, very centered on the two main feelings with this gift, which are gratitude and joy. These other emotions have been evoked as well, you know, and and that's okay. And I've welcomed them all in. But I think that it really has helped me to be present and available to help out by staying very focused on the gratitude and joy.
Yes. My biggest lesson from February is that life just happens. Like I think that like things I mean what I'm always talking about is like life is a spiral and it's always continuing and like it just like compounds onto each other and then one day the things you've been working towards just kind of happen. And I don't know how to explain this very well, especially because I'm going to be pretty vague, but like you it's I think I'm always, I have these desires and these dreams. I'm always working towards them, and I have been for a very long time. And it's easy for me to feel like they're not gonna happen, or I have to keep doing more things. But then but like, then I feel like this month has really shown me that like to stop taking in so much external noise, to stop over planning and preparing and overthinking, and to just trust that I have done the preparation and now I can just like walk through life. And of course, we're always growing and learning, but like that's just like deepening the spiral. I don't need to like be,
Word, if I may interrupt, just the
yeah,
word that
please.
keeps coming up for me as you're talking that you want to go away from is like a forcing of something, to
Yeah.
not force whatever the opposite of that is.
Yeah. And not even not even
Allow.
forcing, but like, because I feel like I've worked through that a lot even before this, but to not feel like I have to strategize things
Mm-hmm.
or like I have to control them to make sure it all happens. I think I'm like now in the place where where I can trust that I can just show up for life and it's happening. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense at all?
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And it really connects to something I learned but while also staying vague and respecting boundaries of other people in terms of the birth of a new life and all that that brings. What it really does is bring one to one's knees to say, there is no strategizing about the really important things. That life happens. And yes, there are choices you can make to maximize certain things that you prioritize and kind of release and set boundaries around things that you don't want to let in, and to be thoughtful and mindful. Yes. But ultimately, nature, life, transitions, changes, blessings, obstacles, all of it is always happening. And it's, you know, I think another lesson is just how important it is to appreciate various perspectives on a similar situation can really make a difference on how you process something, and to know that you can have, different kinds of mindsets, and it will connect you to the environment and what's going on around you in a very different way, depending on that mindset, which I suppose is a jumping off to another kind of conversation. But all of these major transitions that are happening, I think, continue to shed light on that lesson that you're referring to.
For sure. That's definitely been another lesson of the last few months, is to have an open mind and to be able to see other people's perspectives. So to go back to what I was saying before, because it relates to my appreciation for myself from February, is how I really have been trying to just let life happen. I think in the past I do get so in my head around, like I was saying, like I need to be learning more, I need to be trying hard enough, I need to be controlling this, I need to be doing this and that to make sure it happens. And like if I'm not working hard enough, it won't happen. And I think now I'm just trusting that like I have, and I think a lot of that stems from like external, not necessarily validation, but external markers in some way of like, oh, I did it in the way that they thought I was supposed to, or I did all the things that like I'm supposed to do for work, or like I don't know, I can't, but really just trusting that I, again, I'm just going to show up to today and do the best I can and do what I'm meant to and what I feel called to and what I need to for myself and my business and the way that I'm running it. And I've done enough preparation and studying and training to like do that. Um, Not just work for work, but like all aspects of my life. I'm ready for these things and I've prepared for these things, and I don't like I can just show up and they'll happen and it's good. Like there's goodness here and I can trust it. I think that's also like a big thing for me. Um, so that leaning into that and trying to lean into that every day. I think really the present moment aspect of it, just showing up every day and doing the best I can that day, um, is what I appreciate about myself, and also what I need to focus on more and more. Um, and my gratitude for February, um, I think is the feeling that has come from that. Um, yeah, right now I'm in this constant state, and we can get into this for when we talk about intentions for March, but I'm in this constant state of like excitement and counting down the days to next month, and also such overwhelm and anxiety and fear. Um, and sometimes the fear and anxiety can override the excitement and joy. And so I'm really grateful for the moments this month where I was able to just be like, I'm gonna feel the joy, and be in the joy and just all the joy in my life. So that's me.
Sounds like you're talking also about trust.
Yes. A lot of trust is the word. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, should we go on to our intentions for March?
For March.
So I guess, well, oh, first we do what we're releasing from February and then our intentions for March.
So as I mentioned in the beginning, I learned that I really need and relish this time of cocooning in winter. And that is something important for me to know about myself and accept in myself and embrace in myself, because it truly does bring me joy and is who I am. What I'm releasing from that is the parts of that are based in fear of being more into the world, being more, just stepping out of that cocoon. And so I want to keep and cultivate the parts that are honest and come from this place of, just authenticity, and release first of all, be able to discern and then release the fragments that are based on some kind of insecurity or fear of being seen in some way, sort of working on that still.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about with the seasons. Like we have to know sometimes winter season can be ending and spring is coming and we sometimes our winter season needs to go longer and we need to trust that and sometimes we need to know when it's like okay, we need to edge into the next season and yeah, there's so much beauty and comfort here, but just I think a lot of it can be fear of change and that like kind of transition into a new energy, and once we're
Yes,
in the new energy it's better after we've gone through that transition period. Um, but being okay with the discomfort that changing seasons can bring,
exactly.
but knowing when we need to push in ourselves into that a little bit.
Right, exactly.
What I'm releasing from February, I mean, more of the same is the fear for me also and the desire, like the feeling that I need to control things to make them happen and the fear that I'm not ready or good enough or, if I don't control it or if I don't do all the things all the time, um, I'm not good enough or, it won't happen. So I'm letting go of all of that. Um, that's yeah, and I think that's really important for me to do because honestly, those are some of the things that hold me back the most.
Right.
The things that I think I need to do to be successful are really honestly usually what hold me back. So,
Interesting. Yeah. Wow.
what are your intentions for March?
My intentions for March are to look at it as with curiosity and confidence in terms of what we're talking about. That, you know, yes, it's very comfortable for me to stay in my big sweaters and stay cozy and I do tend to, as you well know, like to ease into transitions, um, but to stay focused on the easing in part and not see it as in any way threatening or dangerous in the sense of just being, a change and what that can evoke, but just be curious about, because I do love the beginning of spring. I love spring. I, love all the seasons, and I love being able to feel the sun shine and see the beginning of, blossoming flowers. And to kind of really connect with nature and allow that to help me connect with my own, you know, inner blooming of just coming out of this cocoon and being more into the world. And yeah, so my intention is to be open, confident, and curious, um, and appreciative of these changes and what spring, you know, the possibilities and the excitement. And also just, when I think of spiritually, some of the things that I connect with in spring with in terms of a freeness and a strength, kind of authority and confidence, as I said before, those are those are attributes I really try to embody. And so this March, I want to be really focused on that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, technically, spring doesn't start until March 20th on the spring equinox, slash 21st, but all of March is kind of edging into that season, and spring is about the hope. It is about the buds of what's to come, and it's it's a very childlike, joyful energy, and I think that our world needs that energy right now.
I agree. And I just want to say that just you saying that, of course, I knew that sort of intellectually, but hearing you say that is very comforting in terms of actual spring happening sort of toward the end of the month, because it allows me to feel more aligned with the season, because as I mentioned earlier, I like to ease into things. So it's that in between that you talk about a lot that I can use to help me kind of process everything and really move into the things that I'm trying to embody. And so the beginning of the month, so I don't have to make sort of this abrupt change. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love the Wheel of the Year, because we're not just moving from the winter solstice to the spring equinox. We have Imbolc in between, which is the portal we're in right now, and that is the transition period, you know? And so every single bigger point has a in between, and those are just as important and powerful because they are often the hardest for people. And embracing those in between seasons and celebrations and energies allows us to be again allows us to be fully ready for each season and phase of
Exactly,
life. So
exactly. I just need a little reminder of that, but that, oh, I feel so light, so much better. Thank you.
I'm so glad. So my intention for March, I mean, March is a big month for me and Intuitively Wild. My mom and I actually just recorded an episode about this that is coming out next week, where we talk all about the opening of Intuitively Wild and all the details of that. But I guess I'll announce it here that March 21st is the opening of my business in upstate New York. And um, I'm so terrified. And I'm also very, very excited. But yeah, my biggest intention for March is presence and trust and confidence. That's really it. Like to take each day as it comes, to trust that it's all working out, to trust myself, to be confident in myself and all I've created and what my intention is for this business. And to not doubt myself. I don't think now is not the time to get caught up in all the business strategies and life hacks out there. Now is the time to just double down on my intuition and what's gotten me to this point. So that's
I'm
me.
so excited, and here I am being mom again, but when, to paraphrase you from a moment ago about what the world needs, everybody, the world needs Intuitively Wild.
Well, I hope that, it allows us to embrace all the seasons and energies. And this, we're opening March 21st. So a lot of the themes of our ceremonies and rituals are going to be around joy and creativity and embracing that springtime energy. And yeah, so that's us. But first we have to get through this snowstorm. So I'd love to hear what came up for everyone else in February, what you're releasing and what you learned and what your intentions are for March. I'd love to hear where you're at in this seasonal shift, in this in-between time as we move from winter to spring. And Mom, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you said it all. I just echo everything you've said. It's a very, very exciting time and feeling just that sense of hope.
Thank you everyone so much for being here, and I'll see you next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.